welcome everybody. I'm glad that you're here. I'm Ann Yonemura. I work for Academic Foundations here in Takina Hall. I was asked to do a little presentation about some interactive cards. So I've got some cards here, I've got a couple of scrapbooks, and I just wanted to kind of show you what you can do. I call it paper engineering. So it is STEM related because you have to be able to cut the paper a certain way in order for things to work mechanically. So I'm going to show you a couple of different samples. Some were made by me, some were made by other makers, and I'll show you at some of the pieces that are in the cards that actually make them move, or how the paper is folded. So in order for it to interactively move. So I'm going to start with this one here. And this one is called a star card, only because when you tie it, let me tie it up. So some of these were made by Lorraine Lara downstairs. She's our advisor for our health occupations. And so she had some great samples. Then I asked her if she would let me borrow them for today's presentation. So this one here is a star card, but it's actually made for scrapbooking. So if you look here, you can kind of see there's little frames, and that's where you would put your pictures. And so it actually folds flat. You can actually mail it to people and as a gift. So what she did was she stamped each of the images. Some of it is embossed or has glitter on it, so it has like a 3D effect. And then what she did also, if I'm going to show it this way, you can kind of see she's popped out each of the panels. And so this one's a little bit complicated. I would say more of an advanced folding technique that you would have to kind of learn. But it's kind of a fun thing to send by mail. Say, for instance, you had grandchildren, or you had a friend that was celebrating a birthday, or even for like a retirement gift. It's kind of a fun thing to do. So that's the star card, kind of a scrapbook. Lorraine also did this one as well. And you can come up and take a look at them afterwards, and you can kind of look and see what she has. She has some 3D effects here. This was all made by, let's see, I think one sheet of a 12 by 12, because I did this one here as well. Here's my sample here. So, and it's all cutting and folding, and then gluing the pieces in together. So this one here has little tags that you can actually pull out and journal in or put little notes in. She's got cute little eyes here on her fox. And then there's more tags here that you can pull out. It says Hello Pumpkin. And this one is more of a, you'd print out your photos and then insert them in here. And so each pocket is kind of glued, you can kind of see, it's kind of glued against the one sheet, 6x6. And these are like 6x6, a 6x6 album, I guess you could call it, a scrapbook album. And what she did was she just added little embellishments on here and little cutouts from a sheet of paper. And so you can kind of use up whatever you have at home to decorate this one sheet of paper. So this one's kind of neat. Move that one there. And then this one here is a 3D box. So it's called an explosion box. And what's fun about this one is you can use whatever color cardstock you have. This is the biggest box that I know that they have. I think this is a 10-inch. I think it's a 10-inch. And so you decorate the panels, but when you open it up, you have little butterflies that kind of move. And so this one here, this last panel on the top is actually, there's a little mechanism that's tucking in. And so this will stand up. So you can actually display this, you know, either at your office or your home. People use this for gifts for like their birthday. This one is Have a Wonderful Day, and it's a birthday one. These little plastic things, so, you know, makers are really creative. We see something, we're like, oh, I need to like keep that because I can find something for it. So if you go to anybody that's a crafter or maker, you know they've got all these different things that are at their house, and you look at, what the heck is this? These little plastic things. So, you know, if you go to Costco, those clamshell plastics that you get in all your products, that's what this is from, this little plastic. So a friend of mine, what she did was she cut up all the plastics to a certain size, and that's what she's doing here is, and then she glued the little, these are little die cuts. She glued all the die cuts in here. And so that's what that one looks like. And then she just decorated all of the front. And this is, again, Lorraine Lara downstairs at Health Occupations. This one here is a little smaller box, and all different panels, different, this one says on top, it says, I have to look, La Vie est Belle. So kind of French, and it's a wilderness theme. And so this one pops open, and she has what they call fussy cutting, or cutting around an image. She's cut just from the paper that she got from this stash. She cut out some moths, a butterfly, and a bird, a snail, and a bear. And so this one has all different sayings on it. As well, it says follow your dream, natural vibes, don't look back. I have to look on this side. Don't look back, you're not going that way. It's kind of cute. So kind of an encouragement, kind of a type of theme that she used here. And what she did, actually, she fussy cutted some of these papers. They have a white core. So she went around the edges and kind of used a little small ink pad, and so she went around the edges just so she couldn't see the white core. So there's some nice finishing things that you can do when you're using just paper. Okay. And then she has some other cards that she also made. Move that one on the side. So this one here is, this is really what I call paper engineering, because you have to actually fold the card a certain way for it to open. So you can kind of see that. And so you have to, you know, you have to kind of measure and cut. Sometimes it's not my big forte. If I have something to like follow along, I can actually do it, or if someone actually shows me how to do it. But this one's not too complicated, but it's a pop-up, what we call a pop-up card. And it just says on the front, wishing you an amazing birthday. She also used, this here is just copy paper. What she did was she ran a little flower die cut through what we call a big shot, or a die cutting machine. And she just curled the paper and then just glued each petal. It takes a little long to do that, but then she has a little embellishment in that part here in the middle. So that's kind of, oh, she also used what we call like a glaze. So it's kind of like a 3D glaze. It's hard to see, but you can come and take a look. It's kind of shiny, just gives it a little bit texture. So she did a really good job on that one. And then I have this one here. That's a shutter card. So here's the front of the card. And then when you open it up, it's like a little shutter, like a camera shutter. So this one's kind of cool where, and again, it's paper and engineering because you have to cut the paper a certain way. You can kind of see it from this angle here. So that's a really cool card to make. And they all fold flat. If they have embellishments on it, usually what I tell people is either send it in a padded envelope, or you have a certain kind of stamp that you can actually buy from the postal service. And it's like what they call a non-machinable stamp, and you can purchase those and send it. She even did the envelope. She even cut her own envelope. You can tell she was a little sticky there. She's pretty good. She must have either, you can either die cut it yourself, or there's templates that you can actually use for envelopes. And then she's got this lovely one. This one's really fun. And this is also a pop-up. It's a little cute little birthday. Again, paper engineering. You have to cut the paper a certain way and then fold it a certain way. Valley and mountain folds is what we call them. Yep. And then she just decorated it with whatever she had in her stash. So this is all Lorraine. Okay. And then I'm going to move over this way. We've got a cute little easel card. So this actually folds flat. My friend Catherine Hayes made this for me. It was for Valentine's Day. And then she's got a little lip here and some little gems. And you just kind of display it like that. So this one's pretty easy to make. And what's nice about it is it folds flat, and you don't need extra postage for that one. Here's another one that's a kind of a folding kind of a card. Just different folds. This one I made for Halloween. This one got sent to me. It says, "You are awesome." There's nothing in there. But if you move this, it's a pinwheel. It has just a little brad. So it moves. And then here, someone sent me this one. And it says, you hear about the flying pigs. So this is a theme that says, "She believed she could, so she did." And it's what we call a sliding card. So the pig actually slides. If I can get it to slide here. There we go. And I'll move it back this way. And this one is using a penny, if you believe that. And so we've got a penny in the back of that, along with little pop-up foam dots. This one's really easy to make. And so here's mine. My little thing was Valentine's Day, and this one actually rolls. It's supposed to roll. Is it rolling? It rolled. There we go. It's kind of stuck. So we have to kind of like, sometimes when you lay them flat too long, they get kind of crushed. But there are 3D dots on the bottom of the paper, so it gives it a little space to kind of roll back and forth. And that one's pretty easy to make. Roll or slide, there we go. Just gotta tilt it the right way. And one more card I wanted to share. This one's actually folded as well. And it's using one piece of paper, but it's just cut differently. Sorry, it's kind of stuck here with the ribbon. I made this one at a card swap. So a card swap is where you make several cards, different cards. You go to someone's house or someone's event venue, and then you just make a whole bunch of cards of how many people are attending, and you just swap cards. This was a project that the person that was holding the event actually did. And so we used to meet monthly before COVID. And so that person, whoever was hosting, so this one just folds open this way. Whoever's hosting the card swap actually would make the project. And so if you look on this side, all it is just gluing different panels together and then just wrapped with the ribbon. Okay. All right, this one's folded a little, just with a Z fold, what they call a Z fold. This is from my friend Tracy up in Portland. And what she did with this is a white cardstock, and she used ink to just use, I don't know if you've ever seen those makeup brushes that you see now with the little foam. That's what she used. She used the makeup brushes, grabbed some ink, and then just did the little color in the background so you get kind of like the watercolor effect. And this is just regular printed paper. She fussy cutted the flowers and then just stuck them on there with foam tape. Yep. Any questions so far?
Is there a place to find templates to make cards like this?
Tons of templates on the internet, a lot. Or if you have a die cut machine nowadays, so you'll see my stash that I haven't opened yet. So there's two things. There's the makers that actually use their stuff, and then there's the makers that buy the stuff and never use them. I'm a combination of both. So I went up to a scrapbook and stamp expo like 3 years ago. So these are like from 3 years ago I haven't opened yet. So if you've got, I know it's bad. You need to start using your stuff. So
to know that it's happening.
yes, I know. So these are actually cards that you cut as a strawberry or an ice cream, and they're just folded, from the top. You use what they call a big shot machine, a die cutting machine. You roll it through and it die cuts the whole image. You need like the red for the strawberry, of course, so all different colors. But these are really simple to make now because you don't even have to create anything. You just run it through the die cut machine, and your silhouette that you have here does similar things as well. It's connected by software through a computer, and then you can just tell it what you want it to cut, and it'll cut it all out for you. And usually the software will tell you which part to fold, or it'll give you like score lines, all these different things. This one is a Karen Bernstein, and she has like an explosion pop-up. That can be really detailed. If you look in the back, there's all the dies for them.
So with those dies,
Mm-hmm.
you're putting your paper with that die
Mm-hmm.
in your big shot machine with
Yep.
the die cutter.
Yep, and you sandwich everything and you just roll it through.
And those templates are what?
All these dies are what cuts the paper.
The cutter.
So some people have the manual stuff, and then some people have the computer. Yeah. So there's all different kinds. Here's a cupcake one. This one is a frame one. So like she did hers just, cutting it herself. There's actually a template for that, where you just use the die cuts. Here's a real intricate one where it pops up with flowers. They take a little while to actually, cut out and actually paste together. But once you do that, what's nice about it is, the paper is all, as you cut it through, it also knows which lines are actually creasing. So you don't have to like go in with a bone folder and crease the lines. Technology is great. It's pretty nice. Before you'd have to like go get your bone folder, crease all the lines, but now you don't have to. This one is a spinner square. So there's some squares here. So when you open the card, the square actually spins. So, but it's fun. It's fun to collect. But you should probably use your product if you actually buy them. You should. Just have to find time to do it, right?
What's the limitation on like the paper, or like you said, one of them was maybe just copy paper. Are you usually using cardstock?
Usually for the base, all these bases are cardstock. There's different, what they call pounds cardstock. If you want a really heavy pound cardstock, like these would be, if I would make one of these, I'd use a little heavier cardstock for something like this because you need more structure. For something like the flower, of course, you need something lighter because you want to try and curl that. So that's why she used like just copy paper. So they have different pounds of different cardstock depending on what you're going to use it for. Just like how you think, there's different kinds of paints, for whatever painting job that you're going to do. So, you've got your acrylics, your watercolor. Same thing like for paper. I mean, you would never think about that, but you'd need a more sturdy paper to do certain kind of projects. And then here, I'm going to show you what my friend did. And this is it's like a real cute little wall hanging. And this is using actually, what do they call it? canvas. Artist canvas. They come in all different kinds of sizes now. Squares, I mean, circles, you can find them all over the place. And what she did was she used die cuts. You can see the die cuts there. And she used alcohol inks, which is it's kind of the biggest trend right now because you can mix and blend colors. She also used a embossing folder. So you can kind of see, you can come up and look and run your hand against this. You can feel it's all raised. And this is just kind of fun. It's a fun little wall hanging that you can send to somebody. So this one I actually bought from her. She sold these at a Christmas craft fair. So a lot of the makers do that as well. You know, not only do they craft, but they go and they sell these things, and they make a pretty good killing. You know, if you want this as a hobby and to kind of support your hobby, you do some of this stuff like this. And then I just came back from a 3-day weekend scrapbook retreat. So I had this lovely thing in my stash for about 4 years and didn't finish. I just did the cover. But this is a scrapbook. When you open it up, it has different folds. And it's got pockets. This is a summer themed one, and I kind of did it thinking I would, so you've got frames here, this is where you put your pictures. I kind of thought, I said, oh, it would be kind of fun to do a summer one and then invite the grandkids and pick one of these things and then take the pictures. And then as you take the pictures and develop them and put them in here, they could have the whole summer book afterwards. So this one has swimming, has s'mores, bonfires, kind of fun. Fishing, could take them fishing. Snow cones, lemonade stand, barbecue, fireworks, pinwheels, chalk art. So just kind of fun activities for you to do with your kids or grandkids. So that's what that looks like. And then at the end, there's a little checklist here that you can fill out and tuck that in there. And also, it also says here, things I learned from my summer adventures. So kind of cute, really fun. The whole album is actually made with, I don't want to say pressboard, more like, I'm trying to think, more like cardboard. So it's a heavy cardboard. And it's just decorated with paper and then just little accents that I put on. This was the ribbon that I just used to just kind of tie and close the whole scrapbook together. So, any questions?
I'm curious how you manage all the materials that you're going to use. Like, how do you organize that stuff so that you can actually find something?
Yep, I know. That's the hard part, is trying to figure out, once you've kind of got a concept of what you want to make, right? Sometimes it just starts with the paper. So like I'll see a certain type of paper that I have, or I'll see it somewhere at the store and go, oh, I can make all these different things. And then so some people have a little bit more informal where they just lay stuff out. I'm a little bit more of a planner, so I have to kind of going, okay, if I want to make a birthday card, what elements do I want to use? So I look through my stash for elements that I want to use, look at the paper and see, okay, I do some color matching, okay, yeah, the neon's not going to work for this one, and try to figure out some different attachments as well. So some of this is all glued down, some of it's with little pop-ups, some are with glue dots. So I kind of have to think about what do I have in my stash. Sometimes I use brads, and so I try to pick out some different elements and then write it down on a piece of paper. And then I have these scrapbook cases. So as you know, sometimes you get busy and you don't get complete all of it. I put my projects in a scrapbook scrapbook case. And so when I have time, I can go back and pull out everything. And so it kind of keeps it organized. And I just keep all of the elements that I want to use in the case. So that way, when I have 10 minutes of time, I can just go grab it and and do it. So that's kind of how I keep my stuff organized. Also, I have a crafting room or section of my house. I've been doing it for 30 years, so I've amassed a whole lot of product. I'm actually trying to downsize some of the product because if you have too much, then you can't see everything you have. I think that's part of the issue. So like I had these all stashed away in like a box, and I found them yesterday. It's like, oh, I still have those. So, and some of these websites, you'll go onto the Karen Burniston website, it'll actually show you some videos on how to actually put together the die cuts. Or you can actually, there's blogs that you can follow. I mean, there's so much that you can get into a rabbit hole and, try to figure out. There's even craft organization websites or Facebook groups that you can join to kind of at least get you a little bit more organized. So that's kind of how I do it. It might not be for everybody. Some people just like to create on the fly, and that's okay too. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hey, Joanne, for the ones that pop out like directly in front of you with elements that pop out on like a wire, what's the trick for making those things nice and vertical, rather than just kind of lopsided all over the place?
Yeah, so this one here, what she did was it's actually folded in between the paper, but the plastic's very flexible. And so all she did was just tuck it in there, and then when the one trick that she told me about was, because I have one that's already cut out like this, but I haven't put all my elements in, was that when you do it, try to think when you glue it down, how it'll act when you pull up the box. And so you don't want to have things crossing each other because then it gets stuck with the plastic. So that was one tip she gave me. And then try not to make it too heavy, because sometimes when it's too heavy and you try to pull up the top, and when you have to fold it back in, you want to make sure that it's all not getting stuck. So when you open it back up, yeah, it's just kind of hard. It's kind of just playing around with it and seeing. Sometimes you'll place it in there and then keep playing with it until you get just right. There's no real method to it. The hardest part really was just cutting the paper. When they gave me the measurements, and so I am not a measurement girl. I have to be one of those people. It's like, where's 1/8? I'm like looking on top of the ruler. I cut my paper out wrong twice. I had to recut the paper again, just for the part, just this part. I was like, how can you make that much mistakes? But if you don't measure a lot, so it's good because you have to learn your measurements, So there is some STEM involved, and then you have to look at the paper cutter and go, oh, okay, there's the 1/8. And some paper cutters don't have them. I mean, I have a paper cutter here that just has the tick marks. So if you didn't learn your measurements or you don't measure all the time, you forget. So someone actually had to show me, no, that's not 1/8, it's here. So, so I'm one of those people that I don't measure a lot. I just I cut, the bases, those things I measure. So some of this stuff would be like, this would be way overwhelming for me, because you have to cut everything and measure it out, and I'm not that kind of gal. I'll be honest. But something that's pretty much easy like this, which I thought was easy, is not as easy. And then, of course, you need to measure out all of your frames, because they all have to fit, And then when you have printed paper, you have to look at the printed paper, because the whole sheet's printed, and you have to decide which element that you want from that paper. So, it has to fit in that one square. But she did a fantastic job with this, because she has all different ones on one side. And so this is one sheet of paper that she used. So, you try to use up everything that you have. But sometimes, you have to cut into 2 pieces of paper to just get the section that you want. So, does that answer your question, Brian? All right. So, all right. So would you like to come up and take a look at some of these?